This podcast is a 98 Studios production.
Today's the day, baby.
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Today's the motherfucking day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to Today's the Day with Zach Anderson. I'm excited for today. This has been a year in the making minimum.
Yeah,
Aaron, thank you so much for being here,
pumped
bro.
To be here. Pumped to be here.
I'm very excited. For those of you guys that don't know, we have Mr. Aaron Doria, one of my favorite people I've met in my adult life, and honestly a big role model. Does things the way that I care to do them, and just everybody loves him, and it's a superpower. So Aaron, I'm stoked to have you again. Thank you, man. I know it's crazy. I know you got a cold. You're sick. Yeah. It's a Saturday.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm coming, bro. So you're the man. Thank you so much. I know how busy you are, but let's kick it off and let's roll all the way back and kind of tell people who you are. Who's Aaron? Who am I talking to? Why am I talking to you? Give us the story though, the origin story.
First, hey, thanks for the opportunity, dude. I appreciate it. I mean, literally, I think I'm going to start a podcast. I want to interview you that for the very first time. And we were like, all right, let's do it. And then we're out of town. I'm out of town. Liz, it's been about a full year of trying to get together. So I appreciate it. But yeah, dude, let's see. So born and raised in San Diego, middle child of 5 kids, grew up there in San Diego, did 2 years of college there, transferred over here to Utah, got my degree here, majored in advertising, which was a big thing for me. Mm-hmm. And then got to the door-to-door game.
I love it. So just a little preface on how I know you. So you're one of the partners at Vivint. I got to work with you or watch you work in the same company for a long time. A lot of takeaways, and you guys dominate. Your guys' culture, your guys' is like the flashiness of you guys. Honestly, your story, I think, is actually what's the coolest. Like, you guys have some of the coolest people in the door-to-door industry in your guys' your group. You have a J. Lou, you got a Puck, you got you got Ace, you got all the boys, right? Which is really cool. And you guys market yourselves incredibly well, which is really cool. I think you probably play a big part in that. But rewinding. I remember when I started at Vivint, there was that video of you, like when you were going to go and work for this big marketing firm in New York and everything. And I've always been curious, and we're going to be all over the place with your story because there's so many random things that I want to go in depth about. So I'm going to ask, so out of college, what was your game plan? How did you even get introduced to the space? How did you end up in the space? And then I think that was, you were actually stepping away and then you came back, or fill me in on the story.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, my door-to-door experience is very different. And I think, like, if anybody's listening, can I make it? Can I go regional? Like, can I do it? Like, if I did it, you can do it. There's honestly no excuses if you get the details of the story. But, I got introduced to, so I grew up in San Diego. I was the only Mormon kid in my whole high school. There's like 5 of us, right? There's like 5 Mormons and there's like 3,000 kids.
And 4 of them are really weird.
Yeah.
So you're like,
yeah, so it was very interesting, and like people in San Diego didn't even know what that was, it was hard growing up in San Diego, had to like introduce dry humping to San Diego. They didn't even know what that was, you can cut that out. No,
I'm
so
glad. They need that over there.
Yeah. So I was like, wait, and we're done. Okay. No, so it was just like, funny, just, growing up and stuff. And so one of my only Mormon friends moved to Utah. And of course, right, join the rest. And then I stayed out in San Diego, posted up, went on my mission to Brazil, for 2 years. On my mission, he just hit me up, telling me like his brother went out and did this thing. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I come back and I was working right away, and growing up, you just had to have a job. So, if you weren't playing sports, you were working right away.
Yep.
I remember I quit one of the varsity basketball. I remember I quit. Just like I got done with football. I loved football way more than basketball. And then right when I quit, my dad got me a job, like literally the next week. And I was like, hey, I have you a job. I'm like, oh, I didn't even interview for anything. He's like, already got you one. You're boom. I'm like, oh man, so we're already going to work. Okay, cool.
That's so Latin in your
exactly, dude. Jose, dude. My dad, he took care of that. So. And then, so then right from there, I come back and I start doing, just working right away. And then they come out to, hey, you should come do this, and showed me the whole thing. And I'm like, all right, sure, let's go do it. And we did like a mom and pop shop. So we were a dealer of monotronics called Sound Security. And I was from San Diego. And I went to my very first area was the ghettos of Vernal, Utah. So that's an oxymoron if you've ever been to Vernal. Yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So then I went to Vernal, Utah. My office was literally 4 people. So my manager, his brother, me, and one of my friends. And so it's just 4 of us the whole.
So pause. So in this moment, your homie's like, yo, dude, I know of somebody who's sold her family member from whatever. Like, we should go do it.
Yep.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
You ship out to Vernal. You get there. There's you and 3 other people. And what you're about to do is go and knock on doors and try and sell security systems in Vernal, Utah for the next 4 months.
Yeah. So
what were you thinking? Like when you got there, were you like, oh, this is sick? Or were you like, oh, I effed up. What am I doing? What was
So I started in 201of right? So this is the heart of the housing crisis, right? I started in 2008 and one of my closest friends ever, David Larson, he's the one who got me into the business. Shout out to David Larson. Love that guy. And he got us introduced to it and we signed up with Platinum. And then I went to one blitz. Like I was living in San Diego, so our office is going to be in LA. So I went up to LA for like a weekend just to kind of try it out. And I was knocking doors. And I remember calling my dad. I'm like, Dad, like every other house, there's like 4 houses in a row, foreclosure, like all these signs. And I'm like, Dad, like what's going on? Everyone's moving. He's like, no, son, like the economy's crashing. You've been in Brazil for 2 years. You have no idea what's going on. He's like, everyone's losing their houses. I'm like, okay. So then luckily David, he had a smart move. He bailed on Platinum. And then we went and did a small dealer with Sound Security. And we went to Vernal, Utah because the oil boom was going pretty good during that time. So we were there. So went up to Vernal and I get up there and there's only 4 of us, but I don't know any different. I don't know that there's big companies like Vivint out there. I didn't know that like Platinum was that big. I had 0 idea. I'm on an island in San Diego, so I have no idea. So, but it's like 4 people, maybe this is normal, you know? And the correlation is just like us, like sitting here right here and, you know, high five in the air and we had 1 tech for us 4.
Yeah.
That's what we did. And so, you know, and I went out and I killed it. You know, we sold 40. I sold 40 my rookie year.
That's almost double what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So
arguably probably a little bit different sale, but that was almost double me.
40 my rookie year. And it was like the management, you know, bless David's heart. I love him, but he'd be, you know, he'd give us an incentive like, hey guys, if we kill it on, it was like Thursdays. Like if we kill it today, we're taking Friday and Saturday off. I'm like, hell yeah. Let me just take the weekend off.
Yeah,
it's a commission only job.
You sell 6 on Thursday. You're like, we're done.
Yeah.
I love it.
I just love it. It's like, all right, commission only job. Let's just take the weekend off. That makes sense. You know? Yeah. All right. Perfect. So then, guess what? I'll solve that riddle. That dealer went out of business, you know, so, then I go back home.
You guys were their top sales team.
Yeah.
Too, weren't you?
For sure. Oh, Sound Security. Yeah. They went BK. We didn't even get our back ends that year. So no back ends. They were done before back ends showed up. So that was
huge. That was at least $800.
Yeah. Easily. You know, I was like, okay. So I didn't even know what was going on. So I go back to San Diego and then I was working full time. So I work, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, full time, do like a marketing job out there. And then I go to school full time Tuesdays and Thursdays till like 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. So I was doing full credits at school and then working, you know, a good amount of time as well. And then I just kept doing that 3 summers in a row. Second year, they convinced me to do it again. I made $14,000 my rookie year. And for me, that was actually a big deal. Like
for sure.
$14K for me was like,
for sure.
It was kind of life-changing money for me.
Yeah.
And so it was a big deal. And I remember like coming home and like talking to my dad. I'm like, hey dude, I'm thinking about dropping out of school. And he's like, why? And I'm like, I don't want to brag in front of mom. I'm like, Mom, like go into the room. Like I made $14,000, you know? And my dad's like, and I'm like, well, you know, it's a lot of money. So I think I'm done. He's like, no, like you're still broke. And he like broke it down how I'm like, I'm still poor. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
He's like, this would last you about 8 months and then you'd be done.
You would be done. Like, okay, cool. So then I go back to school and back to work. And then I go out for a second summer. We went with a small dealer of ADT. We went to Rock Springs, Wyoming. If anybody's ever been there, you're probably buying meth or something. But yeah, I went to Rock Springs, Wyoming. And then and I lived in a motel. So there's 4 of us again. So
and I've seen this picture. So these are some stories I've heard because you presented this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have seen some pictures and it's like it is the ultimate.
It's the real deal.
It's the ultimate. Like if I can do it, you can do it. And if my situation was this, I have no empathy for your situation.
Yeah.
So powerful.
No,
like
my trainings now when I go out for the summer, you know, I have like these slides and I do this in the very beginning of May just to kind of shut everybody up. Like, I don't want to hear any complaining. Like, do not call me about your housing. I'm the worst guy to call about your housing, you know?
Yeah.
So you guys got it too good these days. You know? But so actually the office grew from 4 to 5. So, you know, we grew, you know, there's 5 of us.
That's 20% growth.
Not bad, actually. That's pretty good.
Not bad at all.
So, you know, we grew there. And then, and we lived in a motel the whole summer. And I shared a bed with a grown ass man the entire summer. It was 2 queens and a mini fridge. And so one slept on the floor And then we would share a bed, the other 4 guys.
You guys had the cheapest housing in the history of door to door.
Yeah.
Your total overhead was like 12 grand for 5 dudes.
I look back now and, it makes sense. Like, it's like they're on a dealer program and, they're just cutting the housing costs as much as possible and netting the money, and, it makes sense. And I never knew any better, and I never really thought to complain. I was just like, all right, cool. Like, I got an opportunity to go sell, make some money. It just sucks that I have to go work all day and then go share a bed with a grown ass man and, belittle.
So I have a question on that. You're absolutely right. Like, the way you looked at it to go and be able to get to where you're at from where you came from. And I've seen the pictures of these motels. I've heard these stories, and you're about to talk about the next year's housing, which is even better. Like, I like it even more. But it's like, you just said something that's really, really cool, and I'm curious about it. You just said, like, you never even thought to complain. You had an opportunity to go sell and make money. And like, you treated that with a lot of respect, even though you weren't pampered. And the problem that I see in the space, and honestly, just in general, with most people coming up in the newer generation, probably even people in your generation as well, that were like, where do you get that appreciation for opportunity and the attitude of like, okay, like, I'm going to go and make the most out of my opportunity. I don't need to be catered to for everything. Because you very well could have complained about having to sleep on the floor every 5th day.
Yeah. And
you very well could have made that the reason you go home. And I don't think anyone would have blamed you. And I don't think anyone would have been like, oh, like, yeah, you tried the door-to-door thing in your company, went bankrupt, and then you went to this next place and you were in crackhead town and you were sleeping on the floor of a motel for 4 months. No one would have blamed you for moving on and going to a different career, doing something different. And fast forward to where you're at right now, you are in the top 1% of 1% of earners. You dominate. You live a really, really, really cool lifestyle. It's very unique. And like, I think that's because from the beginning you had that attitude. So my question, sorry, it's a long-winded question. My question is, where did you get that? How did you hold on to that? And where can someone else go and like have that same perspective? Where did you get it starting off though? Like, where did that come from?
So yeah, there's a couple of things. As I was driving here to do this podcast, I was kind of like thinking of some of these things and stuff. And I thought about it before with my guys, and there's a lot of cool like trendy things to say right now. It's like, oh, I'm persistent, like I'm a dog, I love to grind and all stuff. But one thing that's just not fancy, but everyone overlooks is patience. And, honestly, my dad taught me that like at an early age about patience. Yeah. And if you hear my dad's story, it's like, we didn't grow up with much, we're 5 kids living in South San Diego, Chula Vista, we're like 20 minutes from the border there. And, my dad started his career when he was like 35, 37. And he got his job because affirmative action passed, and corporations had to hire a certain amount of minorities. And so my dad, Jose Ronaldo Doria, got an opportunity to be a State Farm agent for the first time, for State Farm, there are too many white people, so they had to hire some Mexicans and stuff, and it's fine. And so, he got
honestly
his job.
Probably good having some Spanish speakers too.
Yeah, totally. Especially, it worked out well for him, right?
I like this.
And so he like told me, he's like, listen, he sold his house and lived on that equity for a while. And when he started his agency, he lost money year 1, lost money year 2, broke even year 3, made a little bit of profit year 4. And now he's been doing State Farm agent for 36 years, right?
So cool.
And so, and that was at 37 when he was starting to like do his career.
How old are you right now?
I'm 37.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm 37.
That's awesome.
So it's actually kind of ironic. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And like, so he was starting his career at my age.
Yeah.
Right. And now I feel like I'm doing pretty good for my career right now. Like I'm in a good spot, and so it's been cool. But so just like early, like he was always encouraging, because I hit him up. I'm like, hey, should I go do this summer sales thing? I have this great job. I was making $15 an hour, back in 2008 with 5% commission doing this little marketing thing, and which is pretty good at that time. And he's like, hey, if there's ever time to take risk in your life, it's now, when you don't have a wife, you don't have have kids depending on you, you don't have a mortgage, He's like, he was so stressed out doing that job. It was really, really hard for him. And so he's like, this is the time to go take risks. So I went out and took a risk and did that. And so I kind of had this patience of doing it. And then also I didn't come from much, And so I go out and make some money, like on the knocking doors. It was really, really cool. It was just like, wow, I mean, how much money did I make this week? I'm like, that's the most money I've ever seen in my life, Yeah. And so it was just, I didn't really think much of the like, I'm too good for this opportunity and stuff. Of course, in the back of my mind in the early years, right? I was too good for door to door, right? You know, how everyone is, right? I'm like, oh, I'm going to go. And I was pretty good at advertising. Like that was my degree. And I'm like, and I had this plan. Like when I graduate, I'm going to go do advertising. I'm not going to do door to door. Like I'm not going to be 30.
This is just going to get me
doors,
there.
you know? You know,
Yeah.
it was hilarious. And I, you know, look at him. I was running a team when I was 32 years old, you know, but like I would never be knocking doors when I'm in my 30s. You know, I love when the kids say that to me. It's the best. But, you know, and so, yeah, that's just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of just in me. And I just kind of stuck with it. And I saw, and then, you know, later on, we're skipping, but like later on when I started seeing other people make some really crazy money in the industry, I never just thought they were not much better than me. You know, like they kind of opened my vision a little bit. You know? So
we'll talk about that. I'm excited to get to that point as well, but that's really powerful. Like, I think you appreciated it because of how you came up, and I think you were extremely patient. And like, I think that those two things really aren't as cool to say. It's not cool to be like, hey man, be super grateful for the opportunity and like treat it with the due respect that it deserves, and also go be patient with it. Like, I think patience is probably one of the biggest things in door to door.
Yeah.
How many people that are like the best were not very good for many years? I remember like a really powerful story is like Nate Lords.
Yeah.
Nate Lords was good, like really good for like 5 years. And then randomly, I think it was like his 6th or 7th year,
start slapping people around.
did like 450 accounts. And I was like out of nowhere. Like it's just like clicked, I guess. I'm like, what? And everyone talks about it clicking like the first year, or maybe the second year is when it clicks. But like I've seen guys where it clicks like the 5th year or the 4th year. And then it's like they never turn back. Now that dude is like taking over the world, dominating. It's super, super cool. So I love that you said patience. That's really cool. Okay, resume. So you're out there. That's your living situation.
That's my living situation.
How did that summer go?
I had a down year. I went from 40 to 36.
That's not bad. There you go. That's a little different from me.
Yeah. So like, I think that's what's important. You know, like I hate these stories. Not I hate. They're fine. But I just like, you know, you get the Trevor Franks, right? Like I struggled and then I sold 310 years in a row. And you're like, well, that's not like, that's like, when did you struggle? Like, you know, I don't like that. Like, where they just like, and then I had one and then I just killed it. Like, dude, I struggled. And I mean, I'm talking 40, 36. I was the top rep in my office my 3rd year at 68.
That's awesome.
I was the best of the worst at 68. And then,
but you felt good about it.
I felt good. I was like, my vision, I didn't know.
You were a big fish in a small pond and you were loving it.
Perfect. Like I go to the back end party from San Diego and I'm like in line, you know, doing the back end party, you know, getting the food or whatever. And this guy's like, so who was the top rep in your office? I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to brag, but like, you know, it was me. He's like, oh, dude, really? I'm like, yeah. You know, he's like, well, what'd you sell? I'm like, 68, you know. And he's like, no, like not what was your best month? Like, what did you do for the whole summer? And I was all, oh yeah, same answer. Yeah, about 68. And it's just like, and I just realized when he asked me like, no, not your best month. What was your best, you know, for the whole summer? And I was like, that was the whole time. I was the top rep at 68, you know. Then I was like, oh shit, like I'm in trouble. Like this is you know, I need to step I need to level up here, you know.
I love that.
So yeah, and then
and how was it in that market? Because that was 2009. You said Montana or Wyoming? Where were you?
Wyoming in 2009. You know, it was her height. And then 2010 was a little bit of Montana. Then we discovered North Dakota. And then I went out, which is crazy. I sold 68 my 3rd year, and they let me manage my 4th year.
That's so sick.
And I went and managed my own
a little
team.
desperate.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, we were balling on a budget back then.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I ended up managing my 4th year, and then that's when I, you know, there was the oil boom in North Dakota, so all the oil companies came out and just booked out all the hotels. And so we didn't have anywhere to live. So I got a 5th wheel trailer. And then
this is like my favorite slide in any of your presentations. You had you tell it actually.
Well, yeah. So we didn't have any, we didn't have like any housing. And so, you know, we thought this would be a brilliant idea to weld a hitch to my Mitsubishi Endeavor. And if if I doubt anybody listening has a Mitsubishi Endeavor, but you know, I bought the car for $12,000 used, you know, and it says in the manual, like, do not tow, can't tow. But my dad's like, you know, Jose's like, dude, they always say that, but you're fine. Like you can, I'm like, really?
The most
like,
Jose move. I love it.
So we weld this hitch to this.
I need to meet your dad, bro. I need to meet your dad.
So we weld this hitch to the Mitsubishi Endeavor. We pull this trailer I knew it was bad when like I was at a gas station, all these truckers were taking pictures of my car, like, look at this, like taking. I'm like, damn, that's not a good sign. Like, and it's like dipping, like my bumper's like this, the wheel, we drove, and shout out to Josh Gurrell. He was a rookie that year. He drove with me, and it was only supposed to be like 14 or 15 hours in North Dakota. It took us 21 hours to get to North Dakota. And semis were passing us.
Going like 25 under, maxing it out, 7,000 RPMs. Like,
yeah, when I pulled up to the trailer park, the Minot Swenson trailer park in North Dakota, they were flabbergasted that I made it. They were just like, people were like, this is a miracle that you even got here. And they're like, we'll take it from here. So they parked my little trailer. And then it was a fifth wheel trailer. So just pop out beds. It was like tents. And we had, no AC and no running water, at all for 4 months. And just lived in the trailer. And we ended up getting apartments later. I put some of my guys and some of my technicians in that. And then me and a couple of their buddies stayed in the trailer the whole summer. And, when it would rain, it would soak my little tent and the wind would whip and some water would splash on me. And I'd like, get wet. And then every day I'd wake up and I go to the YMCA to work out. And then I showered at the YMCA every single day because like we had no running water. So I showered at the YMCA there and then brushed my teeth, do my hair and put my lanyard on and then have correlation in the one apartment that we had where it was a 1-bedroom apartment where I had 6 guys living.
So sick. So sick. I love that.
Yeah.
And that was your introduction to leadership. So, okay, I have a question for you there. You had this like perspective of appreciation and patience and all of that. How the hell did you go and convince, how many people were with you that year?
8.
7 other people or 8 other people. How did you go convince everyone on your team to have the same view? Like, yeah, bro, like we're going out to summer, great opportunity. And then you pull up to pick them up on the way to cross country in your Mitsubishi. I've seen the picture. It looks like a teeter-totter. It looks like if you hit a bump big enough, it would just like, both things would catch air.
Yeah.
How do you go and instill that into your people? Or did you just luck out and find people that were very similar?
It's honestly worse. Like, solve that riddle too. You shouldn't weld a hitch. That ended up blowing my transmission. So the Mitsubishi transmission blew up. So that car was done. And so I bought a minivan for $3,300, which is probably a solid investment. But it had the little button with the doors open. I'm like, done. Like button, doors open, like easy.
Yeah.
But it was 8 of us, right? Total. And so only sat 7. So every day after correlation, we would do rock, paper, scissors. And then whoever lost between all of us would have to lay in the trunk. And I remember like, I still have like PTSD, like closing the trunk of my sales reps because they'd be like laying in my trunk with their iPad, not iPad, with their binder,
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I'm like, it's fine. Like, I remember closing. I don't know, Aaron, it's just like, yeah, it's fine.
It's like his third day losing in a row and you just feel bad almost, but you got to stick with the rules.
And honestly, I'm like, we should, I was thinking about this. We should have another time where we do podcasts where we just share good glory day stories, because
we can do that here too.
Because there's just so much. I remember getting pulled over in the minivan and there was a police officer and he's like, is somebody in your trunk? And I'm like, no, my trunk? No, absolutely not. He's like, I'm pretty sure I saw a head. And there's like one of my sales reps laying in the trunk, I'm like, my trunk? I'm like, no. And all he had to do was like, just put his flashlight on there. We just saw a camera just laying there, right?
He's just a guy looking up.
And I'm like, no. And we like got out of the car, like went to the bathroom at the gas station. The cops just kind of walking around but never looked. Anyways, we have so many stories about that. But yeah, so anyways, putting sales reps in my trunk and then driving them out every day and dropping them off. How do we get it done? Honestly, we were pumped, man. We were enthusiastic. We were excited for the opportunity. And a lot of my guys were my friends. My first, year managing with a lot of my friends and homies. Josh Grow went to class with me at BYU.
Yeah.
So I, recruited him and he was, turned out to be an absolute dog and killed it. Right. But all my other friends, they did pretty good too. But like, we didn't come for much. And like, making 14, 15,000, 20,000 in a summer at that time was a lot of money. But I was 24 years old, living in a trailer park, showering at the YMCA. And that was my first year. I cleared 6 figures and I was 24 years old. Like, so when I did that, that's when the vision kind of opened up. I was like, oh damn, like this can be real. This can be real. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. But I think the unique, and I'm going to probably keep hammering on it, is literally like the unique piece of that is like, dude, there was no entitlement in you. There was no like, you know what I'm saying? Like I have had reps or leaders under me or even with me or next to me or in the company that you see, they go make good money and then they can't go run a blitz because the housing isn't good enough. Or on the blitz, they need their own master bedroom. Like because they are like, dude, they make $250,000. Like, why would they not? And they're driving $100,000 car and all that. And I'm like, dude, that is such a wrong way to, that is not how you go scale. you go scale by approaching it exactly how you did. And it's cool that your guys followed that as well. And I also think you said something really powerful also, like the enthusiasm and excitement. Like I genuinely believe you have big energy, you have small problems.
Yeah.
If you have small
100%.
energy, you have massive problems. Right. And I try and like instill that in my guys. And sometimes it gets a little misinterpreted and my guys are just nuts and then it's just chaos. But in the chaos, everyone's having fun. And if you can go hone that in a little bit, like I really believe that. And I think you're like a walking example. I don't know if I've ever heard you say that, but you are like a walking example of if you have big energy, you have small problems. And like you're one of the people I'd call and like express frustrations to. And you're like, and you joke about it. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I guess it's not that deep. Like, whatever, dude. You're laughing in my face, and I was nearly in tears 5 minutes ago. And
I know
it's super, super cool about you. So I love that, and it makes a lot of sense.
No, I remember calling and checking on sometimes, and we you know, because honestly, it's like we're complaining about what, man. Like, you know, it's like sometimes my guys will come. Okay, so I'll tell you this one story. This one like affects me pretty big time. So I'm managing. This is deep in my career, probably year 9 or something like that, year 10. I'm managing, and I'm pissed off at the job, and I'm like really having a hard time with this job. And something, who knows what? My reps are pissing me off. Area technicians, who knows what? And I'm stressed. I'm driving, and I dropped off the guys. I'm driving by myself to area. Get on my phone, and I pull up this thing. It's CNN on Facebook or something like that, and it says article, and I click on it. And actually, it's hard for me. I shouldn't even be starting this right now. It's going to ruin the vibe for us. But this story is this guy trying to cross the border to come to the United States with his family. And his opportunity was to work at his cousin's pizza shop, to be a chef at his cousin's pizza shop. And when he crossed the border of the Rio over there in Texas, he fell into the river and started drowning. And his daughter jumped in after him. And the wife lost her husband and her 3-year-old daughter, and they drowned, right? And they're interviewing the wife, like, what happened? It's like, oh, we were crossing to go work at this pizza shop, you know? And I pulled over, and I'm like, I'm not that of an emotional person. My reps will tell you that, like, you know, I'm not that very emotional, but like I had to pull over because it hit me so hard. Yeah. And it affected me so much that I'm like, what am I complaining about? Like what? What are my problems? That, you know, I'm only gonna make a couple, you know, $1,000 today or something like that, or this week or what? Like, we're not even paying for housing. We're not even doing this. We're not even doing that. Like, whatever. I have a badge ID and an iPad provided by the company, and I have an opportunity to go make $1,000 a day doing this job. With, you know, some have college degrees, some don't. Who knows? But I can just go around and talk in the native tongue of English, all of these people, and make $1,000 a day. And there's people trying to risk their lives to come over here to be chefs at pizza shops because it would be a better opportunity than what they have over there. Yeah. And it was just a slap in the face. Like, dude, Aaron, shut up. Stop complaining. Like, it was in my head. I wasn't complaining to my reps or anything, but just like, what are you doing? What are you having a pity party for what? Yeah. And I remember that like it was yesterday. Because sometimes I'll catch myself, you know, having these little tiny pity parties for myself. Like, oh, wait, what about this? What about that? I'm like, what are we doing? Yeah. I would have never imagined I'm making the money that I'm making right now. Yeah. Ever. 5 years ago, I would have never imagined I'm making the money that I'm making. And so it's just a good reminder. It's like,
that's huge. Dude, that's so powerful. That's so powerful. I don't think that ruins the mood at all. I think that's really, it's like, that's why perspective's so important, because with the right perspective comes the right everything. And like, I've had micro experiences like that where like, you're having a tough week. Like, let's say you have this idea of how the week should go and it goes the exact opposite, right? And like for a lot of my people are starting something brand new and getting their shit rocked. Of course. And that's what happens, right? It's a given. But it's like you're having a tough week. And like, I went to these places where people are a lot less fortunate than what I grew up to see, especially in this job. I went to like big inner city places, right? And you go and you like meet someone and they're this is what always hits me. Like the sad things kind of destroy me a little bit. I just like break down, start crying, and I feel bad for everyone. Right? Yeah. They are very powerful. But like what's really, really powerful to me is like when I go meet someone where it's like I'm in inner city Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm walking around with, again, my iPad provided by the company, opportunity to go make more money than I've ever seen anyone in my life make, right? And I go meet this like single mom who just got off her second shift of her second job. And she's like offering me bottled water or whatever and being the biggest sweetheart. Yes. Like can't offer me anything like monetarily other than but she would if she could. And she's like so happy. And I'm like, yeah, like, she's like, how's your day? I'm like, oh, good. Like, how's your day? And she's like, oh, it's so good, sugar. Like, blessed to be alive. Blah, blah. And it's like, holy crap. Like that stuff is so like, And it happens all the time. If you look for it, you realize how freaking lucky you are in any situation. Like if you look to go and realize how lucky you are in comparison, it's insane. And the one thing I've learned about complaining is somebody always has it worse than you.
Yeah.
And anytime you're complaining, you just look dumb.
Yeah.
You just make yourself look dumb.
And it's a waste of time.
It is.
It goes nowhere.
It
Like
doesn't help.
nothing, like it's just like, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And so, all my reps know, like they'll call my partner when they want to get a scratch on the back, but like when they call me, like they're going to get it real, they're going to get very transparent.
And I've loved that about you. That's why you're literally one of my favorite dudes. And like, we didn't talk every day, but I called you in some like trying times.
Yeah.
And I think I called you because I knew you'd give me what I need, not what I want. And sometimes you want pity, and like, you're not really a pity giver, which is super, super cool. And it's hard not to, because it's really easy to wallow in things with people. Like it's very easy to like, so it's really cool.
Okay, look at you. You're dominating, at a way faster rate than at my age, right? Like you're already crushing and stuff. And there's a lot of people that have dominated. A lot of people have taken advantage of this opportunity. But how many people have we recruited where they should have dominated and it never panned out, right? And let me tell you this. Like I think the people that have trouble with this job are the ones that have always been good at everything their whole life. The dude that's just naturally good at, sports, on the varsity team, or the homecoming king, or the girl that's a valedictorian, homecoming queen, like just naturally good at things.
Yeah.
Because the doors will rock you. The doors will humble anybody.
To their core.
So they get out there and they're expecting to be good because they've been good at everything their whole life.
Yeah.
So they're expecting to be good. They're expecting it to come naturally to them. And it's an even playing field. That's what I love about the doors. It doesn't care about how rich your parents are or how poor your parents are. It doesn't care if you're black, Mexican, white. It doesn't care what kind of car you drive. No one cares about your ACT scores. Nobody cares about your GPA. They don't care if you have a degree. It's just this even playing field for everyone.
Yep.
And that's what I love, because everyone has the same opportunity to go and take advantage of it. But it's always mind-boggling to me who takes advantage of it and who doesn't.
It's so crazy.
And I think I look back at my life. So, I'm dyslexic. So I don't know if you know that or not. So I see everything's backwards. I'm sure in this podcast, I'll say something backwards. I'm sure my reps will text me and tell me I said something backwards. But so I'll see things backwards automatically. So, growing up, recess, right? Like everyone would be going out to recess and they're like, oh no, Aaron, you're going to go to this little portable and put on some headphones and like practice reading. I'm like, what? And I have this padded wall. Like, and everyone else is like playing kickball. I'm over here trying to learn how to read my whole life. Like I literally had trouble reading till I was like 17 years old, right? But then I read that book, The Grit, right? By Angela Duckworth and, or Grit, and by Angela Duckworth. And she talks about how, dyslexic people are usually successful in life because they've been working their whole lives from an early age, trying to just get to like average. So they're working their ass off to just be at the average level, to not be embarrassed anymore. Right. But that work ethic that you've learned is what it is. Right. And then I go to my freshman, year of football. Right. I didn't play. Like I got benched my entire freshman year in football. And I remember like, I didn't kick off, right? Like they just kick out like special teams, which is like the, make a wish, like, go out there. We got to like, a little slap on the ass, like, sure. That's all I got. Right. And that's it. But then like, my senior year, right. I'm varsity captain of the football team, starting like, it's going great, but it's like that. I'm so grateful for freshman year. Yeah. Just getting my ass kicked, not getting any playing time at all, being so embarrassed, having my parents in the stand and never getting in. But those are the things that like, because it just taught me early. I had no idea this was happening. But now in hindsight, I look back, being dyslexic, being benched, it just showed me that I have to work extra hard around people around me to just get on the normal level. Yeah. And then you go and you apply that in the work field then you dominate. And that's why people that are like these studs that come out, we're like, why aren't they killing it? It's because they've never done anything hard in their life.
And they may have done things hard. So this is what I've gathered from, and I agree with you 1,000%. The definition that I've given it is there's a muscle of not quitting that some people don't really ever have to work out.
That's it.
Like there's this muscle of like facing failure, right? And not quitting that some people just kind of don't have to go work out other than learning to walk.
Yeah.
Right. And I always use that as an example for guys at the beginning of summer. That's the training I give is like unconditional commitment is the commitment parents and children both have to learn to walk. Like parents don't go, and if you take a couple months longer, just like, oh shit, he's not going to walk, throw you on their back and carry you around until you're 15.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, I mean, he's just a little bit slow. We'll figure it out. Yeah. And you're just boot scooting around forever, eating shit, trying to stand up. And then eventually you can go and do it. Right. And like that, like being dyslexic, like what I'm hearing there is literally like, You didn't have the option to quit. So inadvertently, you were working the muscle of not quitting. And I think that's like the most powerful muscle to go figure out. If you want to go and dominate in a space like we're in, like that is the most powerful muscle to go and work.
Yeah.
And if you can go and add the superpower of not quitting with a smile and not quitting with gratitude and not quitting with excitement and not quitting with energy, oh, you will blow past everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's what it is. That's so cool. I've never thought about it with things like being dyslexic or anything, but I have thought about like those guys where they come in here like, bro, this is the dog. Like, this guy's going to go be top of the top. And by June 15th, he's freaking driving home at 4 a.m. And you're like, what?
And then that kid that's like been homeschooled that hasn't talked to anybody just goes and slaps everybody around. We're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Just goes and buries everyone. Or that kid who did 15 the year before just comes back with like a chip on his shoulder. And
that's my favorite thing is seeing sophomores. Like, who's going to pop out of these rookies?
Yep.
And that's what's cool about this job. It's like, I mean, anyways, I love this job. You know, you could tell I love this job, but
same.
But I just love like time, dude. You know, time is because you know I got my ass kicked for years, and I mean, even let's see, year 6, I sold 68 again. So I went back down. So I sold 60, and then my 7th year was my 6th year was my first year at Vivint. So yeah, I guess I was doing 128 my 6th. So my 5th year I sold 68 again. But then it wasn't until year 7 that I broke 200 accounts.
Yeah.
So year 7 I sold 203, then 204, then 212. But it was just like took me 7 years to sell 200 accounts. You did that when?
My 3rd year.
Exactly. You know, which is you're great, you're talented, but like, you know, that's a grind. You know, I don't know that many people that couldn't break 200 accounts till year 7 and then, you know, goes regional.
No, 1,000%. And like that, dude, it's a superpower. And I also think that's why people relate to you. I think that's a really, really important part about you. Cause like there are those guys out there that are beasts. And honestly, my hat's off to like the Trevor Franks and these guys who just like
dogs.
Like my hat is
I wish
off
I could. I'd rather
because
have
I'm
that
like,
career.
I would rather have done that. But what I do think, like if you're finding the silver lining in sucking ass at the beginning, which frankly we both did, is I can relate to these guys. Like when guys are coming home and they're like, dude, I'm literally doing everything I possibly can. And I sold 1 this week and it canceled. It's like, homie, just give it time. Like go and you reap in direct proportion with what you sow. And it's crazy. Your payout might be year 7. It might be year 3. It might be year 2 and it might be year 4.
Mm-hmm.
And for some of you, it might be year 1, which for those of you that it's not year 1, you're going to wonder what they did different. And all they did was that was what was going to happen for them. That's it. They didn't do shit. They did exactly what you did. And I think it's a really, really cool superpower to be able to relate to people. And that's why I've wanted to have you on because I know people listening, especially in our space, because this has been very door-to-door central, which is totally cool. Right. And I love it. You can relate to anybody. You can relate to the beasts who are accelerating quicker than others. And you can also relate to the people that took 7 years to go and get there.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, it just comes to show there's not very many stories like that because frankly, I think people would quit if it was going to take 7 years.
Yeah.
Right.
They wouldn't have the patience.
Yeah. But at the same time though, it's like, man, people go to school all the time for a 10-year degree or a 5-year degree or whatever it is to go and get this degree to go and make X amount of money. It's like if someone told you with absolute certainty that after 7 years you were going to be put on salary for the salary or the money you made year after year after 7 years, you probably would have done that regardless.
Yeah.
Right. And I think about that all the time. I'm like, dude, I would have done, and I made really good money my 2nd year. My 1st year, I made less than you and I didn't do very well. And I buckled down my 2nd year and did something super different, but I would have done my first 2 years. And frankly, now knowing like where I'm at now, I would even go to the lengths of saying first 3 years. And I made $250,000 my 3rd year. I would do my first 3 years free.
Yep.
Like I would take loans out to pay for food. I would go into debt as if it were a degree for my first 3 years of work. If I knew with absolute certainty that by year 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, where I'm at now, I would be where I'm at.
Yeah.
1,000%.
100%. I knocked for and managed for 11 straight years.
Yeah.
So 11 straight years I was on the doors and I'm proud of that. Like I don't like people like, oh, what? I got off the doors at this time. Like, dude, I love it. People like, when am I getting off the doors? Like, dude, who cares? Like just go and grind it. You'll finally get pushed off the doors.
Yeah.
If you're doing it right, you'll be pushed off the doors.
You won't leave the doors.
They'll ask you to get off the doors because they need more of your time and other things. That's what will happen.
Yep.
You trying to get off the doors in a hurry is one of the dumbest things you can do early in your career.
Yeah.
It's just like it will naturally come. Just get to that level. But and also what I like too is like, you know, I can relate to my people in a lot of ways where, I'm doing this job single. Yeah, I've done it. Oh, I've done this job, you know, single while going to school full time. Yeah, I've done it. Oh, well, I've done this job. Like, have you ever been engaged, you know, and not seen your fiance the whole summer? Yeah, did that. Had a pepper spray Hillary like 3 times when she come to visit me, you know. Couldn't control that woman. And then, then they're like, oh, have you done it like as a newlywed? Yeah, I've done it. Have you done it with a kid? Yeah. Have you done it with 2 kids? Yeah. Oh, so it's like, I can relate to them. So when they call me with these issues, I'm like, yeah, I've been there, bro. Like, I get it. Like, I understand.
Yep. And honestly, I'm curious on your advice there. Like, yeah, I've been there. Then what's your follow-up advice? Like, yes, I know exactly where you're at. What's your follow-up advice? And I think you've already given it, but I want to hear it again.
Well, my advice would be, just trust the process, and enjoy it too.
Yep.
Like it's funny because they always say this, Kobe Bryant's speech, his retirement speech, it really hit me. He's just like, the waking up at the 4 a.m., going to this, going to that, doing this, and he's like, always to just get to this thing, to just like be the best, to win the championships, to be the MVP. And then he's like, then I have it. Then I have the championships and I have the MVP. And I just look back and realize, what the best part was the journey to get there.
Yep.
Like now he's doing the speech. Now he has the microphone in his hand. He goes, the journey was the best part. And that's like where I look back, like some of my best, that trailer park year, dude, like that was the best. I mean, what was it, a grind? Oh my gosh, dude. Like, my city flooded, like all this stuff. Like, I mean, I lost 14 accounts in a day from a flood. I mean, like, on and on and on, like, pushing the van out of the mud, like all this stuff. Like, but the journey was the best, And so my thing is like, listen, have the patience, trust the process. Like it's inevitable. You're going to get there with the hard work and the work ethic. But these experiences right now that you're going through, they're shaping you. Yeah. They're cultivating you. They're changing you to then to develop, to be that leader that you want to be in the future. Yep. But you have to army crawl through shit to get there.
Yep.
And I did. I army crawled for 11 years.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I get it. And now I can relate to my people and now I can help them out.
I love it, dude. I love it. And I think so many people, like, naturally you want to skip that.
Yes.
Like naturally everyone's like, ooh, I would rather not do that part. I'm going to do it better than Doria. And then it's like, oh shit, dude, same thing's happening. And then you get to choose. Am I going to go quit or am I going to see it through? And like, that's one thing I'm really, really big on. And probably because of Bodie and Casey and all those guys was like, how you do something is how you do everything. And to me, like one thing it's like wrapped in my identity super tight is I'm not a quitter. Like at all, period. If I'm going to go and like stop doing something, I'm going to end on a high note. Does that make sense? Yep. And it's like, I think that's so cool. I think you have a really, really cool story that a lot of people can go and relate to. And that's so valuable. And I think that's the best advice ever is just like, not only like trust the process, but enjoy it is very, very important. Because you could go make the process miserable. And I actually agree. My hardest years are my funnest years.
Yeah.
Like, because you're fully engulfed and you could view it totally differently if you weren't enjoying it. And I think that's like the secret, dude. That is the secret in this industry, especially, or probably any industry. I think the cool thing about our job too, and like we all rant about it, but it's true. I think it's a parallel to anything you would go and do that's hard in life. Starting a business, doing your own thing, going through school, having a family. Like there's so many lessons you learn by just going and getting your ass kicked in any form or fashion. And I think you can do it other ways too. I think emission's a really good way. I think there are a lot, but it's like, it's so powerful to go and get just absolutely destroyed and like
it's healthy.
Be taken down to like your knees and be like crying about it and then go and like come out triumphant is like really, really powerful. Yeah. Very cool. I love that. So, okay. So then you go from that year and where you're at is really, really cool. There's a few year gap and I guess whatever stories you think are the most important to tell through there, but we're at year 4 or whatever.
Year 4, I managed, break 6 figures. Great. Year 5, got in a car accident on the freeway, should have died, didn't. Like it was a true miracle. You can check out those pictures too. And then, but then, went back to 68 that year. But, same thing. Like I was knocking with a broken hand. It was paper contracts back then, had to have the customers do it. Like just stuff like that. Just like constantly putting myself, like I look at it as an opportunity. Like, okay, now I have a broken hand. I can't even write the contracts. I'm hopped up on Percocet. I'm all swollen from my car rolling on the freeway 3 times, and I'm still going out here and knocking and still getting 9 deals in a week. Like those things shape me, change me, right? Then after that, I get introduced to Vivint my senior year in college. I get introduced to Vivint. When I get signed at Vivint, by Jason Brown, the OG, I tell him just transparently, like, hey, I'm only doing this for 1 summer. And then I'm going to go do advertising, because that's my degree. And I was doing pretty good in school and I enjoyed it. And I had, I think like that was like my passion, I felt like, right? So then I do a great summer at Vivint, first year is fine. And then I quit and I was engaged and I got married and then went straight into advertising full time at an ad agency in downtown Chicago.
Yep.
So live in downtown Chicago, walk to work every day. It was cool. And advertising, when you're a creative and advertising is dope. Like they dress like you, they roll up in skateboards, like they got ping pong tables, like they want you to just live there. But like free craft beers after 6 p.m., free dinner after 8, taxi ride homes after 9. They want you to just like live there and just be creative, you know? Yeah. And that's what I was a copywriter. And so I did all the social media for KFC. So we did like their Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, so rest in peace, you know.
R.I.P. Vine.
Yeah, go on the blue check mark on Instagram, scroll back far enough, you'll see me holding like a bucket of chicken, you know. Yeah. We were balling on a budget back then, but yeah. But you know, and I was just like, it was cool, but it wasn't in my head, it was something else. You know, when I was in school, it was something else. Then when I was in that corporate life, it was a little bit different. And specifically, I was working on a campaign. KFC was going to do something with NFL for like some playoff commercials. Yeah. And it was Halloween. I think I said this story before, but I'll say it again, just, you know, for the viewers that haven't heard it. But like, it was just like my boss who recruited me from Sundance Film Festivals. He came out and he recruited me from BYU. He was awesome, and his name was Todd too. All these important people in my life are named Todd. You know,
gotta love that.
Yeah, I love it. So his name was Todd too, and he's a G. And we're working on this campaign. And we were newlyweds at that time. So me and my wife were gonna go out clubbing that night for Halloween. So in downtown Chicago, might as well. So she's like in the lobby, all decked out, ready to go. And it's like 7:30. And it's like on a normal weekday, like 7:30, and then 8 o'clock, 8:30 hits. And I asked my boss, I'm like, hey, so like, don't you have like kids, Todd? He's like, yeah, I got like 3 kids. And I'm like, are you gonna go trick-or-treating with them, you know? And he's like, oh no, man, with this job, like I haven't been trick-or-treating my kids like the last 3 or 4 years, you know? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then, like, you know, and we finished that project, and I met my wife in the lobby. She's like, damn, that took forever. I'm like, oh, sorry. And we went, you know, clubbing or whatever. It was fun. But in my mind, that like hit me hard. Yeah. Cause like my dad was at everything, all my sporting events. We didn't have that much money, but he was always available. Mm-hmm. And that's something that was really, really important to me. So that kind of freaked me out. I know it meant nothing to him, but to me, that whole night, it shook me. And I was like, I don't want to be the dad who can't go trick-or-treating with his kids. Yeah. Like that's just not who I am. Yep. And so anyways, fast forward to the best advice I've ever received in my life. And he probably doesn't even know this, but shout out to Bodie Gardner. He came out to visit my office one year when I was managing it and spoke. And he maybe shared the story before, but it was just something really impactful that really messed me up big time. But he just said, you know, he's like, everybody was like, oh, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. You know, like just do what you love and you'll never work a day. But the problem is like that love sometimes goes away. Maybe it's love for 10 years, but after, you know, 11 years, 12 years, you might not love it anymore. Then it becomes monotonous. Then it becomes a job. And then you have to check in and be just a job anymore. Now you don't like it as much. And so his advice that he got from somebody that he told us was like, find something that you're good at. Something that you're good at, that you're good, you know. Find something that you can scale, that has endless scalability. So there's no roof, right? Like you can just keep building and do that. And the third thing is, and find something that gives you financial freedom to go do the things you love. Yep. Right. So like I love playing basketball. I woke up at 5:15 this morning and played basketball. I love surfing and I love hanging out with my kids, but I haven't found one person to pay me to do those things, you know? Yep. And so it's like, do I love knocking doors? No, I don't love it. Am I good at it? Yeah, I'm good at it. I'm not great, but I'm good. Is there endless scalability? Yeah. As big as you can imagine it, as big as you can build it, you can do it. And does it give me financial freedom to go do the things I love? Absolutely. Yep. And so once I heard that advice and I had that experience over there, I was done. I quit advertising and came back to Vivint and to do it full time. I think it's been like 11 years. And when I came back, I lost all my reps because I told them I'm like, peace out. I'm doing advertising. So I come back and I only rounded up 4 guys in 2014. And, you know, now we'll have over 500. So it's been good. So sick, dude. I think so. I literally, as you were talking, I was thinking about that and I was like, okay, like, and I love that video too. I remember when I got into Vivint, they made a whole video about you going and getting into the creative agency and you like narrated it and it was killer. And it really, really kind of pushed that message across, which is there like, is it a biased message for sure in some cases, right? Absolutely. That being said though, it's so unbelievably true. Like, I love this. Like, I love the podcast. Could this go and get me the lifestyle that I have as of right now? 0% chance. 0% chance. I would go greatly into debt and it wouldn't be great, right?
Eventually sick. That'd be cool if it could, right? And I love other things. Like it's like, oh, what do you want to do? Like, and sometimes, and I love my parents to death. I don't think they understood the opportunity that I was plugged into super early on. They're like, well, yeah, that's cool. Like, how much longer are you gonna do it? And I'm like, what? I'm like, do you have any idea? Like, I work 6 months out of the year and I made this, like,
yeah.
And I wouldn't really say anything because I'm not very confrontational with that stuff. I'm like, oh, like until it's not
same
good.
Though. Same conversation with my parents. Same stuff.
Like until it's not good. Yeah. And then I always have guys like, well, what do you want to do? I'm like, dude, I'm like doing exactly what I want to do. What do you mean? I'm like, unfortunately, homie, like the reality of the world is we all have to have a job. Like maybe not you. I don't know what kind of background you come from. Right. And I'm like looking these kids in the face and it's like, eventually you're going to have to pay for something unless you're just one of the select few that was born to the right family where you never have to. And I feel sorry for you if you are.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, so like if I can go find a job that does exactly that, it gives me the freedom of time and financial freedom to go then do what I actually love to do with because what I found is it's really easy to stop loving something when you have to do it. Does that make sense? Yep. Like you may love basketball and maybe if someone like, let's just say there was a scout at your pickup at 5:30, he's like, I'm picking that mother effer
that
up.
Guy.
Right. And then all of a sudden you have to do it every single day. I think there are people who could love that, but I really think for the most part, if you have to do something to meet all of your ends, like I think it sucks the joy out of it. Right. So if you can have that relationship with your work and like learn to love and I also think love is a multidimensional word. Like the things you go dump serious effort and attention and focus into, you love. Like I may not love knocking doors. I love what I've created within the industry. I love it. I love the relationships I have. I love the skill set that I've gained. I love the branding that I get. Like I love all of that. Like, do I necessarily think knocking on doors and being a door-to-door sales rep is like the most appealing thing, especially for someone where creative, I would say, is like, that was what I thought I wanted to do. That's literally what I applied at Vivint. I applied for the creative department to intern as a
did you?
photographer. Yeah,
didn't even know that.
I didn't get it. That's why I went out.
Hey, what
it was with K-Swiss. Shout out K-Swiss.
K-Swiss Global.
Bro. Yeah, K-Swiss Global. He's like, yeah, man, I just don't think, and rightfully so. I went in there like, yeah, I want to be a creative. And it's like, okay, like what experience do you have? I'm like, no, like I want to come and learn. Like that's why I want to come. I didn't get the job and then I ended up here and it's like, dude, I love it. Like I love it. And are there ups and downs? Are there frustrations and stresses? All of that. Do I need to be patient sometimes? Like, yes, 1,000%. I don't think there's a harder thing I could have chosen to do with my personality. I really don't think there is. And I think that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
Right? It's so damn hard for me still. Right.
But the love develops. Like in the beginning, you know, I loved like kind of going out and exploring parts of the nation I'd never been. Right. And I loved like talking to strangers every day. I thought it was really cool. Just working on my communication skills and living in different cities, different cultures. I loved that part. I loved the money in the beginning. The money was great, you know. But then now it's like the love develops. Like now when you see your guy make his first 6 figures ever in his life and he just gets out of debt and his life changes or he graduates debt free or he was able to pay for a wedding or something like a medical, like that's impactful. Like those are my things that I love now. And that was even in my vision, you know, 10 years ago. I didn't even have anything on that. And now over time, I'm like, okay, so like the love develops, you know, and then it's hilarious because I started that brand, you know, Still Here, you know, like me and Huck, we did the whole Still Here stuff. And everyone like, you know, some people like, you know, get offended by it, but you know, the point being is like, it's just more for the door to door in general. Where like, I don't care if you're doing solar, I don't care if you're doing pest or whatever. It's just, you're doing great at your job. And then you have those parents or you have those uncles or you have those mentors like, are you still doing that? Are you still doing that door-to-door thing? Here. Are you still like, yeah, I'm still doing it. And I'm dominating. Like I'm making doctor money. I'm doing this. I'm like, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm still here. And it always bothered me. Like, so how long are you going to do that for? That little hobby of yours? Like, are you still doing it? I'm like, of course I'm still doing it. Like, what are you talking about? You don't even know. And that's why we started the whole Still Here. It's like a message. Like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm still doing it. I'm still loving it. I'm still dominating.
It's so cool. I love it. I've never actually heard the origin of Still Here. And I love that. I think it's so cool. And that's it is the strangest question. Because it's like, I don't go and ask like, my friends that are school teachers, like, yeah, are you still like a school teacher? You're still going to do that? Like that is
but then we get it.
Yeah, it's so condescending. But I also understand it because no one gets into this thinking it's a career. Yeah. That's one thing I have learned. And that's why I have a little bit of empathy with that question of like, are you still doing it? Because it's like, yeah, I'm going to go do this to get me through college. Then all of a sudden you're dropping out of college. And like, and then all of a sudden you're there 5 years and then your little brothers are doing it with you. And they're like, hey, are you still like, is that still like going well? And it's like, no, yeah, it's like, it's going really well. And also I plan to be here for like 15 years, just so you know. So just ask me again in 15 years.
Yeah. Just
at that point, I'll be retired and doing my thing and I'll do whatever I want.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I love that. I think that's really, really important piece of advice. And also backtracking a little bit to the advice of like, oh, if you like find your passion and do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's like, frankly, a lot of people love the idea of being lazy. And like, this is a call out to a lot of people listening that want to go be like a social media influencer. It's like, sick, do that and something else until that's paying your bills. Right. And then when it's paying your bills, hell yeah. Like, I actually have friends that like, since Instagram started, that's been their career since the start, like 2014, 13, 12. They were really early in it. They chose to do it. They dominated through high school. They made better money and they make great money still. Like, I'm not dissing on that. What I am dissing on is the person who wants to be a YouTuber that uploads a video a month, still lives at their parents, makes no money, and they're not grinding at it. Like, if you're going to go and commit to something, it better be able to consume all of your time. And if it can't, go find a substitute that'll pay you during the time you're not spending on it.
Yeah.
And that's my challenge, because I have a lot of friends and a lot of guys and a lot of people that I talk to that are like, oh yeah, I want to do like any of it. Like, there's so many passions that you can go and do that and make good money, right? Like, my passion is definitely not door knocking. Like, I definitely have things I want to go and start, but if I can do that without having like a financial burden attached to it, I can go actually do it the way I love it rather than the way I have to do it, financially speaking, which I think is way more powerful in my opinion. And that would be my advice to people, because I've loved that. So
I love it.
I have a question for you then. And you're in a unique position, and I ask this question to a lot of people, and honestly, time flies, so I'll be respectful. I won't take up a lot more of your time, but I do have a couple of questions for you. You get the opportunity to go and mentor a lot of younger people who are like either in their mid-20s and don't know what they want to do, or they think they know what they want to do, or really they do know what they want to do, or they're even younger and they don't have any clue, and they're just like fresh, like it's like a fresh slate of life. They have no idea. It's like, I have two questions. One is, what's one piece of advice you would give someone like, hey, if you could just go embody this throughout your life, from my experience, I think that would bring you the most fulfillment and happiness. And then on the flip side, avoid this at all costs. What would those two things be?
Great question. For me, it would just be like, it would just be being positive. I know that sounds so cheesy and so easy, but it's deeper than that. You know, it's just, being positive in a negative situation, looking for the best part of the outcome, not feeling sorry for yourself. There's a lot of cons that I have, but I can say one pro that I have is I don't spend much time feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
Ever. Maybe the way I grew up, maybe the things I've seen in my life, but I don't feel sorry for myself. And so I don't ever, spend time on that. And that never takes away from my energy, but I'm staying positive, but I've been through like, some shitty situations in my life. I told you, about my mom and stuff like that, like, passing away while I was still managing that summer, while having a newborn baby, like having those experiences, still having to go knock with a 10-day-old baby while my mom just passed away, and still manage a team and finish the summer when I think a lot of people I know would have quit and just went home, it was August, it's like. And
to your point of being positive is like, in sales, you are not selling shit if you're not infectious.
Yeah.
Like, so you had to, in the midst of all of that, find a way
to put a smile on my face. They don't know that I've got no sleep the night before from a brand new newborn. And they don't know that my mind's somewhere else because my mom passed away.
Yep.
They don't know that. I got to knock on the door. Hey, sorry to bother you. I'll be really quick. I'm looking, and I gotta do that, but I'm being positive. And at the same time, I'm like, I'm not gonna feel sorry for myself, because you know why? Like, yeah, I lost my mom, but there's some people that grew up without a mom, or both their parents passed away or something. So like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna sit here and just have this pity party for myself?
Yeah.
Or am I gonna just try to be as positive as I can about the situation? Because being negative is not gonna help at all.
Yep.
And that would be my thing. I would, I say for sure no. And then what was the second one?
Like, what would you avoid at all costs? And you kind of touched a little bit on like pity party negativity. What is something else that you would like avoid? Like, what is like a trap that may be really enticing and may be really attractive, but it's a trap and it's not going to go lead you to any fulfillment or happiness in your experience?
I would just, just the get rich quick kind of stuff, if for the guys that I mentor, the get rich quick. I think right now, and this is different from my generation, right? So I grew up with no social media in high school, and I feel bad for these young 20-year-olds that I manage now and stuff, because they could be having a great life, and they hop onto social media for 10 minutes and they'll probably hop off and like, my life sucks, because there's, on social media,
Yeah.
everyone's just so happy and like, the lighting's so perfect and like, their marriage is great and they're making making so much money and it's like one fat paycheck and they'll post it on Instagram like, check this out, bet, and the next thing you know, it's like that's their only paycheck. I've had reps work for me that post their back end checks, come check out this. And I'm like, dude, that's like 4 months of work. Don't try to, flex on these kids out. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I would just say, just, look and see what's working already. Right. Don't go and try to, invent the wheel, stuff like that and just plug yourself in. But don't get distracted with all this get rich quick stuff, because that was one thing that worked for me. I didn't really get too distracted. When I quit advertising and I decided to come back and do this, I'm like, this is going to be my career. And I put my head down and had no distractions. Yeah. And I had people come into my life with glitter and just, shiny things and try to fully distract me or pull me away from my ultimate goal. And I had tunnel vision. And I knew that if I do that, I'm going to get to where I want to be. And I think I'm here.
Yeah, no, you're killing it. Well, dude, literally, again, I want to be respectful of your time, studio's time, everybody's time. Hour flies by. We will definitely do another one. We can just have a glory story.
I have a couple.
We'll get
for
Brad in here
yes,
too. We'll
yes,
do a
we
little
need to. We have
a little
to.
3-man video with Ross in here too. It'd be a blast. But dude, I freaking love you to death. I appreciate you probably way more than you know.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I know that was super, super helpful for a lot of people. And honestly, a lot of the stuff I need to hear. And like, I appreciate it big time. So thank you for taking the time, making it a priority, and just always being how you are. You're a gem, dude. I appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody listening, much love. And until next time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As always, it was a blast for me. I hope you got something out of this. If you got something out of this video of value, share this with a friend, and please go show your love. We're on all streaming platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Any ratings, comments, likes, shares, they go a very long way, and they make it so I can keep doing these things for you, and I would appreciate it greatly. So please go share with a friend. Until next time.